Hi everyone, it's Jen and Cyn from Stitchcraft Create, and today we're joined by Lisa Lam. Hi Lisa.
Hi Lisa.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thank you.
Apart from the teeny tiny technical issues we've had, I think we're doing quite well.
Yeah, sorry we're a little bit late.
Okay.
There has been some giggling and a little bit of swearing, but it's fine, I think.
It's fine, internet, it all works eventually. So some of you may know Lisa as the author of Bag Making Bible.
One of our best-selling books of all time.
Yeah, brilliant book, and also A Bag for Reasons. But we don't want to talk to you about that today. We want to talk about your brand new dressmaking patterns.
The cutest things in the world.
So what have you enjoyed most about creating these dressmaking patterns for children's clothes?
I think it was the challenge of learning a bit more about dressmaking. It's always good to add to your skill set, but the very, very best thing was I was just playing dress up with Mabel. Fabrics. How's that fabric going to look amazing on Mabel? Well, and very, very tricky getting her to dress as the model. She wiggles around a lot. That was a challenge, but still enjoyable.
Wiggling's fine.
So what inspired the designs, and was it purely Mabel or was there anything else?
I think it was, well, yes, it was Mabel, but dressing for clothes for girls, I don't have the experience for boys because I haven't had a boy. There's just too much pink. I do like pink a lot, but I like to temper it with maybe more boyish colours or shapes, so it's not all, well, the total Barbie effect. And you know, I like frills as well. I just find that what is available in the shops isn't to my taste, and I think that you'll find that a lot of women say the same for girls. It's too overtly girly, and I like to, well, I like things my own way, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of my most favourite things, talking about that kind of thing, is this Playsuit. It's like, you know, a gorgeous. It is it's girlyish fabric, but it's not pink. But also Playsuit, you can like romp around and wiggle as much as she wants.
Absolutely, she can get in the sand and the mud and that, chuck it in the washing machine. It's fine. If I was better with boobed up placement, I'd make one for myself.
I was just saying that to Jen the other day. I really want one.
I have a few friends who said pretty much the same.
Do you have a favourite, Lisa?
The Playsuit. No, honestly, the Playsuit, or the halter top if I'm in a super hurry. But I like the Playsuit the best, to be honest.
I love the dress, actually.
Yeah.
That's my favourite.
I think the dress seems to be doing the best because it's a very classical shape, and it just happens to show off that pattern really well. It's very versatile. It would look good just visiting a friend, playing in the garden, or great if you need one for a party the next day. That would also work as well. So yeah, I think the dress is probably doing the best, but my favourite is the Playsuit.
I think it's the model on here, to be honest. That's the cutest thing ever.
I know. She had so much fun that day. Honestly, there was just nursery rhymes in the background. I was doing a bit of flapping, if I'm honest, trying to get Emma does what I want her to do. She kept up with it. There were balls and props provided, and she just made the room a mess and danced around. And no, she had such a good time that day. I was so proud of her.
I should just say, actually, if anyone's got any questions for Lisa, do send them in on the Q&A on Google Hangout, or if you're watching on YouTube, then you can tweet with the hashtag AskSCC. So, Lisa, what makes your patterns so beginner-friendly?
I think a combination of two things. I think the most obvious thing is the photographs. I'm not necessarily more a visual learner or a text learner. I really like to have both. So I like to have the specifics written down, and then I also like to look at the photograph to confirm, so that the two act as confirmation for each other. And that's my favourite way of learning, and that's why I've always written my instructions like that. And having done it for a few years, I get a sense that a lot of other people like that as well. So I thought, you know, I have looked at other dressmaking patterns, and diagrams are awesome, but to be honest, I can't draw. So I'm better at taking photographs. So I think, you know, I have asked friends who have not sewn before. I said, look, if I supplied you with the fabric and you could borrow my sewing machine, looking at the photographs, do you think that you would give this a go? And the answer is always the same. If they slept a bit longer, I had a few more naps, or I could just, they could go and stay at grandma's. Yes, I indeed would. So I think the photographs are a fundamental part of making the patterns beginner friendly. And the second is, I think the way that I write instructions. My best teachers, well, namely my mum and my very, very scary textiles teacher from GCSE. She was amazing. She frightened me, but I wanted to please her, which is maybe why I've done okay with sewing now. But she, my mum and my sewing teacher, they didn't assume knowledge when teaching me how to sew. They would say things like, well, okay, now you've got to make a patch pocket. And they didn't assume that anyone would know how to make a patch pocket. They would show you as well. And if you know, that's fine. Or if you do know, you might find a better way to do it. And if you don't know, great. Then you're not left behind. I like to try and be as inclusive as I possibly can with instructions. It's non-judgmental. It's just more friendly, and I think it just makes life easier for everybody. And everyone can sharpen their skills anyway. So I found that's what works for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We were saying this. We did a little YouTube video the other day, and we were saying, with the bag making Bible that you did before, it's really easy to follow, and you've obviously sort of followed that kind of really easy to follow instructions and and the pictures and images into these patterns as well. So it is. I mean, I'm terrible at sewing. But I found it really easy to understand. So if I have a little girly thing, I definitely would make it.
So if you are a beginner, which is the best pattern to start with? Which is the simplest?
Please say it's this one.
It is. Actually, it is the dress. The thing about the dress is it can have sleeves, and if you look closely on the pattern cover, there's like a faux placket with buttons. But actually, the simplest thing is the dress as it appears in the background there. It's just sleeveless. There's no placket, no buttons to deal with. You literally could sew that. If you've got a busy household, maybe 2 evenings. Less busy household, 1 evening, and it'd be ready the next day. The great thing about that dress is if you've got some really lovely fabric, it doesn't matter how simple the pattern is. It's the fabric that'll do all the talking for you. Yeah. And actually, I have made that dress more than once for friends.
Absolutely, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, this is Amy Butler, because I know you kind of know Amy Butler quite well. This is Amy Butler's Celestial Cream.
Yes.
Fabric from the Happy range, yeah. So just in case you wanted to know, everybody.
Yeah, we love this fabric anyway.
It was a dream to use. It just turns out that the pattern size works perfectly for the pattern. So whichever size you're working with, from 2 to 6, you'll get that beautiful birdie on the front, and then it's sailing from there.
It's really lovely.
So to go to the other end of the spectrum, then, which is what's the most complicated technique that you've ever tried?
The most complicated technique doesn't appear on these patterns. It was figuring how to stitch a fly onto lined trousers. Yeah! Yeah! The result was amazing after filling up loads of swear jars. I'll be honest. Mabel does fit into them, and I had considered doing that as a pattern, but really the instructions would have been just mile long. I'm glad to have learned it. No regrets.
But you should do it. If it is something that maybe in the future, just because it is something that is known as a particularly complicated thing, and maybe with your style of writing, you should give it a go. I think.
Maybe if I'm given 500 pages for the pattern. No, just joking. I'll blame it on Cynthia.
Yeah,
Cynthia's idea, everybody.
Oh dear. Anyway, sorry, Jen, go on.
That's all right. So do you have any favourite fabric designers? We talked about Amy Butler, obviously, and that's one that we're loving at the moment. But,
yes, she is my favourite because from what I gather, she's unashamedly unique. She doesn't, she has a lot of imitators. She's unashamedly unique. That's what's brilliant about her. But other designs are Jennifer Pagnelli.
Yes.
She did the floral Playsuit fabric.
Yeah, this one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Again, I did have I was lucky enough to meet her a few years back at Quilt Market in the USA, and she's just so darling and warm, and she's like a walking sunshine. She's just very expressive and showy and blousy, and she is just like her fabric. I believe she's very inspired by the Caribbean and the flora and fauna there, and it really shows. Other designers I like are Anna Maria Horner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's got a recent range called Pretty Potent, and she's got some amazing, what looks like massive daisies on there. Do check it out because very graphic, looks fantastic on children's clothes, or maybe young at heart adults, which I reckon I could be termed as. Yeah. And another nice designer, Dina Designs.
Yeah, I like Dina.
Do look out. What's it? Fox Playground. An amazing print with foxes playing all over bits of fabric. Have a look. Very, very.
Really? Yeah, I think.
Really
yeah.
And finally, Tula Pink.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
She's got some really unusual designs. We love that as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for choosing fabric then?
Top tip for choosing children's fabric is to. I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think people do worry a lot about right or wrong, and they're scared to maybe experiment, and I can see why. But I think in terms of children's clothes, I worry most about the pattern repeat. I think it's a good idea to choose a smaller scale fabric that fits onto the smaller person, or if you've got a really massive pattern, hone in on an interesting part of the pattern, and if you really like that, then maybe decide on where it's going to go, like maybe the chest, or sometimes it can be cheeky to put it on the seat of your bum, or I think just worry more about the pattern size repeat and take it from there. And then you would start considering comfort, of course, and lasting, and colours. But pattern size repeat is my main top tip to worry about.
We can't not talk about bags, I'm afraid. What do you love about designing and making bags?
I will be honest. I think it's because they're very forgiving. The nice thing about a bag is when you've created a design, the person looking at the design or using the pattern has no idea what the original sketch looked like. So I'm very organic in my designs. I like the word organic because it could be contrived. I've made loads of boobies on the way, and I've put pockets here, I'm a bit impatient, and also I don't give myself a hard time if things haven't gone to plan. I'll just amend and change and make sure everything is symmetrical and the seam allowances work. And provided those two things do, then you've got a bag pattern. And another thing I like designing about bags is they're very, very useful. I'm a very pragmatic person, like my mum. I think you could say a lot of Orientals are very, very pragmatic.
Yeah, I would agree.
I've got an artistic bent as well, so bags and being practical, they go very, very well together in hand, I think.
Have you enjoyed dressmaking as much as bag making then?
Yes, I did. Initially, I found it tricky because there are lots of set techniques in dressmaking that can be applied to bag making, but in bag making, obviously, it can only go so far. You're dealing with different closures. Maybe you're worrying more about seam neatening, etc., etc., etc. And researching that was a bit of, a challenge for me, but I'm really, really glad I did it. But I think what evened it out in the end was the emotionality of it. I was making these clothes for Mabel. I mean, I was very lucky to be able to ask my Facebook fans what sort of things they liked about clothes making, what sort of features they'd look for. But in the end, it was really imagining how these items of clothing would look on Mabel. So yeah, I think when you can sew for someone, that's sewing at its best. So yes, it was as fun as bagging.
We've just got a few more questions, but don't forget, if you're watching, to post your questions on the Q&A or tweet them with the hashtag AskSCC.
Yep, I'm looking at them now.
Can you tell us a bit more about your online business, U-Handbag?
Yes, I set it up in 2005, which seems like a really long lifetime ago. It was as a result of my needing bag making supplies for when I was running a market stall. I think I started making bags and adding metal bits and bobs, and I think people weren't using them back in 2005. It's quite exotic to put metal catchers, rings, magnetic snaps on bags, and I think that was setting my bags apart from bags on the other market store. And I was getting sellers asking me where I got my bits and bobs from, as well as customers. So when buying the supplies, I would sometimes join my mum for trips in Hong Kong, and she would buy them on my behalf because her Chinese is a lot better than mine. I thought, getting them in this way wasn't cost effective. I thought it'd be a good idea to set up a shop. I thought that there would be a few customers for the shop because I was getting designer makers asking me where I got things from, and customers as well. So, to be honest, on a punt, I gave it a go. My lovely husband let me use his student loan. I haven't paid it back yet.
Oh, whenever.
Well, we're married, it's okay. I'm sure I'm worth a lot more than the student loan. And I think things have been steady ever since. So we stock everything you need to make bags under one roof, from the metal components to everything you need in a kit and to patterns.
Yeah.
So what's next for U-Handbag? Have you got any future plans?
I do. I do have a very, very big plan, but I'm really sorry to sound very mysterious.
No, that's exciting. I think
I will keep you posted. But
will you tell me and Jen afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends how. Depends. No, I don't want to jinx it. It's the biggest thing I've ever done, and I'm a bit intimidated by it. But I think that's no reason not to give it a go.
No, definitely.
Absolutely.
All the more reason to go.
That sounds really exciting.
It does. I've had a few questions come through.
Thanks for asking, by the way.
Do you use similar techniques for bag making and dressmaking?
Yes, a lot. There are quite similar. Like I've used a fair amount of binding. I've looked at neatening seams. There's gathering. Oh, I can't list them all now. There's zigzagging seams. I'll be honest with everybody, and especially as I was delighted by it myself. In many ways, well, at least specifically for these patterns, I can't say for others because I've only designed these. They are quicker to make. Dressmaking for little girls, and I'll say girls because I have to be specific, is a lot faster than making a bag, and easier. For me, if you've sewn a bag, perhaps a bit more involved than a simple magazine tote. If you've sewn a bag or you've followed one of my kits, you'll definitely better whiz up these patterns in a lot less time.
Oh, it's good. I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, no, right? I know.
I am, because I thought it would be much more complicated to make.
No, not at all. Because the thing about a bag is you're essentially making two bags, the lining and the exterior.
Yeah.
The exterior will have pockets on it, it will have flaps on it, it'll have metal catches on it. You've got to put a handle on it. I'm making bag making sound a bit of a drag now. That's not what I mean. But bag making is really a lot more involved with dressmaking. You might line part of the bodice, but what'll be on the outside and the inside will be quite similar. Not exactly the same, but quite similar. With dressmaking, you just have to worry more about neatening your exposed seams, but that's far quicker than for bag making, believe me.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you made any clothes for yourself?
Yes. Ones which are more loose fitting, because I'm not expert at boob dartage placement yet.
Keep trying.
Not that they need to be really large or anything, but to get best, to get best fitting clothes, this is important. So things like flowy camisoles and loose-ish, maxi dress with an empire line. I think if you're quite comfortable, you could figure out how to do that yourself. But anything that does this,
yeah. We have had a couple of questions on the Q&A. So, hi Lisa, this is from Rosie. Hi Lisa, I was just wondering, are you going to continue designing clothes for your daughter as she grows up?
Absolutely. I know this might sound like a cheesy thing to say, but it is really, really true. Because I've started this, well, no, I didn't start this journey because I've always customized clothes, but I haven't designed loads of patterns from the ground up. And now that I've done it, I had to do it, and even though I found it tricky, but obviously, I've agreed to do it with the publisher, so obviously I have to see it through. There's nothing like being motivated that way. I found that, it is easier than bag making somewhat, and it's so satisfying. There's really, really nothing like another mother saying, "That's cute. I haven't seen that in the shops. Where did you get it from?" And and trying not to look really, really smug, saying, "I designed it and I made it last night." You can't not look smug, but well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Time in, it's fine. No, I definitely will.
But it'd be lovely, wouldn't it, to have, like, from Mabel the age she is now all the way, like, up to her graduation. Like, you could make her graduation dress. How awesome would that be? You could have, like.
I honestly think she'll be sewing with me as well. I mean, she is already rather interested in my sharp pins and iron and all the dangerous scissors already. I mean, if I've got anything to do with it, we will spend time crafting together. So I'd like her to grow up thinking that handmade items are special, not just, oh, you made it, nice one, great. I want her to really value them, and we can work out designs together, and I think that'd be a lovely way to spend time with each other, like my mum did for me.
Yeah.
My mum looked amazing in the 70s. She sewed her own clothes. She had amazing legs. The dresses were very, very short. She looked incredible. She didn't buy anything. She made it all.
I think we might be around the same age, and my mum's the same. Like, she had she had her own clothes up, but the skirts were so short. I don't know.
I've got one more question. How hard was it to start your own business?
That's a really good question. I honestly think the very hardest thing is actually deciding to do it. Wanting to do it is great, but making the psychological change between I want to do it, right, I'm gonna do it. It is quite, is understandably hard, because I honestly think the funding, besides having the idea, obviously, I think things like the funding and the educating yourself to do it, and looking for organisations that can help you, and and the support that's all out there for you to go and get. It's just being determined in your heart to go for it. If you don't have that, then it's best not to at all. The rest is all doable. It's just putting the time in and being stubborn enough to go for it.
I think that's a really nice place to finish. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone for sending their questions in. And thank you, obviously, to Lisa for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa. It was awesome to speak to you today. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.